Hello, welcome to Bead Brief. I'm Lauren Fenty with Beadbox Bargains, and today we're going to be talking about some common trade names in the jewelry industry. Now, a trade name is a term that's used to refer to a specific material in the jewelry trade, but it can be confusing. It can sometimes be, it's usually not what that material actually is called, or at least in general. And if you don't know what you're talking about, it can make you think that either a synthetic or a dyed material is a different type of more expensive stone. They are names, they're not meant to be dishonest, but they can be confusing. When we use a trade name, we will always put in parentheses on our website what the bead is actually composed of. So I wanted to kind of give you an overview of some common trade names to look for when you're buying beads. So one of the first and perhaps most common and most egregious examples is going to be jade. The term jade is used in so many different materials to describe things that have properties similar to jade. There are two kinds of material that are actually technically jade, and that's going to be nephrite and jadeite, and they're both very expensive, generally, depending on the grade you get. But a common one that you'll see thrown around is Malaysian jade. And that refers to typically a dyed quartz or quartzite. Now, I love Malaysia jade. You have so many vibrant colors. Here are a few examples. But it is not technically jade. It is technically quartz. So I'm going to show you a few here. Another common one that I see a lot is mountain jade. And mountain jade is actually dyed dolomite marble. And this is a matte finish strand, which is all I had in stock currently, but it's going to have a little bit more of a grainier appearance because it is a marble. Again, you can get all kinds of different colors and shapes in it. They're great stones, don't get me wrong. And typically the people who are selling them as jade are not trying to pull one over on you. That is the way they're referred to in the jewelry industry. I just want to make really clear, technically not jade. This is also true of new jade, which is a form of serpentine, piece jade, which is a form of mixed serpentine and quartz. There are so many things out there where the name jade is used. Even some of our crystal colors are called like a jade blue or a jade pink, and that just means they've got like a semi-opaque jade finish. So just because you see the word jade doesn't necessarily mean that it's a jade. So again, nephrite and jadeite are the two stones typically considered real jade. And these are all real stones. These are beautiful semi-precious gemstones. They're just not technically jade. You'll see them called mountain jade and new jade. And again, on our website, we'll have like in parentheses, like dolomite marble, dyed dolomite, or dyed quartz, because that is what they're composed of. So again, Malaysian jade, usually a dyed quartz, and mountain jade, a dyed dolomite. So we'll set those aside. Another one, another stone that has a lot of trade names surrounding it is turquoise. So first of all, and perhaps most commonly, one I see a lot is African turquoise, which is actually a dyed jasper, and it is gorgeous, and it is not a cheap stone. It is really beautiful, but it is also not technically a turquoise. Here's a larger 10mm strand. And one way to identify African turquoise jasper is you will have typically a lot of almost like these Dalmatian jasper, like modeled patterns in this stone. A lot of times you have a lot of dark matrix. It makes a great imitation turquoise because of its natural matrix. And it takes the dye really nicely. They are beautiful, absolutely gorgeous stones in their own right. And definitely worth the prices they command, but they should not be as expensive as natural turquoise of this size or shape. And again, we will always, on our website, if you buy African turquoise at Beadbox Bargains, it's going to say in parentheses dyed jasper. So it's known as African turquoise. It's actually a jasper. Another one that you see a lot is turquoise halite or turquoise magnesite. And here's a strand of turquoise halite. And these are beautifully dyed strands that, again, the natural stone has a matrix to it. So when the bead is dyed turquoise, it looks like a beautiful high quality turquoise. It's a great way to get the look for turquoise of turquoise for less, whether you want the like really earthy African turquoise or the almost like Sleeping Beauty blue look of like a turquoise howlite. Magnesite is another common stone. Here's some turquoise magnesite. And so if you see turquoise howlite, it's howlite that's dyed turquoise. And again, we'll always try to point it out on our website. Same for turquoise magnesite. Here's a strand of natural howlite, which I'll hold in my hand so it doesn't disappear against our background here. And you can see it does have a really lovely marbling matrix. And when you dye that turquoise, it looks really gorgeous. But again, just want you to be aware when you're shopping. Here's, for just comparison, here is some Hubei turquoise, which is natural turquoise. Well, it's stabilized turquoise. Most turquoise is going to be stabilized to protect it. And there are lots of different types of turquoise, lots of different places it can be mined, and a lot of different price tiers depending on, you know, how much matrix versus how much of that turquoise blue you get. But in general, turquoise magnesite usually has a lot of brown to it. Turquoise howlite tends to be very, very clear, tends to have less matrix. Not always true, but generally. And then your African turquoise jasper is almost always going to have a lot of these like mottled patterns in it versus your genuine turquoise. So just something to keep an eye out for as you're shopping for beads. And another way that trade names are used commonly is to describe a synthetic material, which, I mean, you got to call it something. But we want you to know whether the beads that you're buying are natural or a man-made material here. So one common one is goldstone. So this material is made of a specially treated glass, and this is blue goldstone, and this is your more traditional goldstone, and it is mixed with copper flecks to give it that amazing sparkle. It's a beautiful, wonderful material. It's not exactly cheap to make. It takes a lot of chemistry. And then your blue goldstone, often they add some cobalt to get that gorgeous deep blue. It looks like a midnight sky. So a beautiful material. It is a man-made stone. And another man-made material that we often see represented as a natural material is going to be cherry quartz or tiger skin quartz. Now, it can be confusing. Strawberry quartz is a naturally occurring variety of quartz. Cherry quartz, here, this bead here, this pink one is a good example, is a man-made variety. And so this is like basically melted and reconstituted quartz crystals, and they have different materials added to give them these great striations. So the yellow variety I often see sold as pineapple quartz, and then the pink ones are going to be usually called cherry quartz, and then these browner ones I often see called tiger skin quartz. So tiger skin jasper is a natural material. It looks a little different. It's brown and striated. So it's a lot of confusing terminology in the jewelry industry, but a reputable dealer should tell you that cherry quartz and tiger skin quartz and pineapple quartz are all synthetic forms of quartz. They are not naturally occurring. It doesn't mean they're not beautiful. It doesn't mean they're not, they're cut by the same lapidaries that cut our other stones. The pricing reflects that they are difficult to make. They're typically considered a semi-precious material, but they are man-made. So, and that should be disclosed. And this is kind of sometimes tiger skin glass strands will have all of the different kinds on them. Like you see, you got the cherry quartz and the tiger skin. It just depends where you get them. Another common one that I see is opalite or sea opal. Some people sell sea opal as though it's a natural form of opal, and it is not. It is a specially treated glass. And again, it's gorgeous. You get this like almost kind of like a blue-orange shine to it. And I don't know if that'll come through the video as well as it does in person, but it is a really pretty material. However, it is not an opal, and it should not be priced as an opal. So here's an example. Another common one that we see is moonstone glass, also called mermaid glass, but some people just refer to it as moonstone, and it is definitely not. So these are a glass bead that has a reflective disc encased in the middle of it that gives it this gorgeous multicolor, very moonstone glow. But they'll have a line on the side. It's very obvious that this is not a natural moonstone. It's beautiful, and I can see why people call it moonstone glass, why that's a trade name for it. We will always mark it as the synthetic material that it is. It is stunning, and it's also not exactly easy or cheap to manufacture. So it is a little bit pricey to get that gorgeous glow, but not as pricey as a strand of rainbow moonstone that this size and luster would be. So just some things to keep in mind. For comparison, here's a strand of natural moonstone, and I don't know if the glow will come through really well in the video because these are small. These are all I had on hand at the moment to show you, but this is a white moonstone with some rainbow moonstone tends to be a little more transparent. But one common thing that you'll notice is a lot of times if you have inclusions, they'll be like little tiny black flecks. So that's something to look for with this stone versus an imitation. And as always, if it seems too good to be true, if the price is, $1, it's probably not going to be a high grade natural gemstone. But yeah, trade names, again, they typically aren't done out of any kind of malice or greed. A lot of people just, that's sold to them as a quartz. They think it's a quartz. So really, I just want to kind of offer some insights and just, I guess, help you be aware of what you're buying when you're shopping. I always want to be as clear as possible. When I'm selling an item, I want to make sure I'm representing it as truthfully as I can. And a lot of times, if you shop like online marketplaces that have language barriers, etc., it's you don't get that kind of clarity. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any other questions, or I'd love to know what you'd like to hear about on future bead briefs, because that is really helpful as we plan. So thank you so much for watching. Again, I appreciate you being here. I hope that this information was useful to you, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and happy beading.